back to Adria.
Yeah.
So Nora, who's been waiting very patiently here, studied at the College of Fine Arts in Mercedes San Luis, her native Argentina. Nora has worked in an impressive roster of countries around the world, including Brazil, Italy, Spain, and the US, including Boston, Texas, Georgia, and has been living and working in Massachusetts since 2000. Nora has created numerous public art projects and sculptural installations with residencies, awards, and exhibition opportunities around the world. A few recent accomplishments. In 2020, she received a New England Foundation for the Arts Creative Cities grant for her project We Heal, in which she worked with cancer patients. In 2022, she was awarded the Opportunity Grant from the City of Boston for her project Building Empathy. And our Fitchburg connection, in 2013, Nora was commissioned to create a sculpture on Main Street in Fitchburg, which you can still go visit and see today. Like I said, straight down Route 2, super easy. Shameless plug. And so Nora utilizes sculpture and installation to create images that reflect on the nature of change, the life of the individual, and the natural or societal forces that buffet our souls. I took that from her bio. I didn't write that, but I thought it was excellent.
Beautiful.
And so Nora's work encapsulates the current moment of contemporary art practice, which privileges the individual perspective in a way that can be universally understood. The immigrant experience, the concept of home, in our ever-expanding global world becomes increasingly relevant, especially with things like political conflict and improved technology and transportation. All of this sort of encourages and allows for the migration of humans. So Nora joined international artists like, I would say, Jacob Lawrence, Doho Sa, or maybe an early Mona Hatoum in this international conversation about identity and culture to explore a distinctly human story of belonging. And now, I would like to start. I would like to give each of them 1 to 2 minutes, maybe, to give maybe a brief description of their show. And you guys might need to take my necklace. Talk about what that means to you to have this show here at the Boston Sculptors Gallery.
While you're getting yourselves stuff here. So both Nora and I are members of this gallery. There are close to 40 members, and so all of us have a chance to show pretty much between 2 and 3 years. And so I am a fairly recent member. Nora's been around a little bit longer than I. 2012, and so we're both really happy to be here. This is my second show, and Nora must be your fifth or something like that.
Fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should start, I guess, for 1 minute. Oh, yes. Okay, so a common trait, what can I say? It's about relationships, about the immigration journey that is always in all my pieces because I can't help it. I can't get out of that. And I work a lot with the theme of home, and also I want to, and this specific show is a little different because usually people know me as a stone carver, and I do mostly just stones and public artwork, and that's the media. But in this, I've been incorporated a little bit the fabric and different materials because I kind of wanted to incorporate more my drawings. And I've been with the idea of putting this clothesline for a while. And I born in Argentina, but my father is my mother and my whole family is Italian, so kind of is a stamp in my body. The clothesline, you wash the clothes and you put it outside. And so all these memories. So this whole show is all about memories, about that, about also And inside in the drawings, they have a lot of things about displacement, things that have to be what is happening in the society, things about abortion, things about moving from one place to another, about loneliness, about love, about not having love, about not having family, so all sort of things, gender and mostly identity, that's kind of characteristic of my work. So that's kind of what I will say, relationships, and why I put a common trait, I think is because I was looking something that is something in common, and I think relationship and family, even if you come from different background or different culture, still the value, the core values are there, and so it's kind of about that.
You can keep it clipped because you're going to do most of the talking. I'm just throwing some questions at you. And I actually wanted to start with a show of hands. Who is like somewhat kind of familiar with Nora's work? Pretty good. I kind of expected that. And so, as you all can see, what's kind of been introduced in this exhibition is some of the fabric and textile work, right? Everybody's kind of like, oh, Nora, she's the stone carver. Like, she knows what she's doing with stone. But the textile work is a really interesting shift away or next to your stone practice. So I was wondering if you could talk about some connections between the two.
The clothing and the stone. It's there. Well, I mean, the way how I think is like everything comes from a drawing. Even if I do a stone, and even if I do commission, if they don't ask me for a model, I will go directly from my drawings. I draw in the stone and I carve. And so I wanted to incorporate more my drawings, but I do also wanted to do a clothesline. So I putting those together, I decided to use fabric. But I didn't want to use the whole shirt completely, so I kind of like cut, the sleeve and cut it in pieces and use that as how I was motivating myself to do some of the drawings. And the idea of people were asking me why I just use white. If you go to Italy, a lot of the laundries, they are all white. So that kind of comes with that, but it's a few other things in there with the white. It's kind of like for me a memorial too. Also, you have to keep in mind that I come from Argentina in the time of the dictatorship, when the military government and people were disappearing. I was living there and I left in that time, and so we use the white a lot to represent the whole era. And so I have a lot of friends and family that they disappeared, so it's just kind of like always that is in there. I didn't quite do it intentionally and go so deep on that, but that's kind of like a way to show all the not the problem, but like all the things that happen in our society. And so for me, that's how I use the connection. I mean, I wasn't thinking, okay, how this connect to my stone, but sometimes what I do with my stone, I try to always make pieces that they are very soft. I always try to be the contrast, like these ones, like I'm trying to imitate paper. And I probably should maybe make a paper bag instead of a stone carving stone. But I always like that kind of contrast, to have like, the hard to imitate the soft and the soft to imitate the hard. I mean, because I think it's that in all of us. I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah. And sort of follow up on that, I think in terms of materiality, there's two ways to think about it. There's the sort of physicality of working with stone versus the textile, but then there's also this element of maybe genderedness. So like with stone carving, and maybe carving in particular, there's a very like physical, that's right, yeah, very strong, physical aspect of it that I think is affiliated with maybe masculinity, but then textile work is traditionally considered more of like the women's domain. So do you think is there anything to bridging that?
Well, it's very funny because when I have all stone, or even when I'm working, even if that's my primary thing I do, everybody who, it haven't happened yet here, but I think it's because I have a lot of textile. They always ask me, you did this? They always, and I think it's because also I am little. I don't know. I wanted to hear, I don't want it to see that it's just because I am a woman. But it's always, they always question me. They can see me with a 20-ton stone working on it, and they ask, are you doing this? Yes, I am doing this. And that proof is not anything, is nothing about size. It's, it's like, and I think this kind of bring maybe my feminine part, let's say, for society and what that means. But I like to work with both. I mean, I really enjoy, it was very relaxing because this I can do it in my house, very warm. I have a studio that don't have heat. And I work outside. And so I was working, a lot of these pieces have been working in January and February. So, of course, yes, it's really nice. The other one, it's very physical and, it's more tough to work with. It's true.
Okay, I was wondering if you could just walk us through the clothesline a little bit more closely.
Okay. Well, as I say, a lot of these, and some of these, like for example, when I did this piece with all the hanging houses, I realized, and I was thinking, like the time that you have to move, and when I will be able to have a house. Like, I was married for 22 years, and after I separated, I've been working, just living off my art, whatever I make, and it's been very hard to obtain a house. So I keep renting, and sometimes I'm in this place and keep going back and forth. So when I was doing this, it came out actually this other piece here, which I put it like the needles because my mom used to knit all the time sweaters and scarves. She was very feminine, and she didn't like me doing any stone carving, just by the way. And that's kind of remind me, I wanted to kind of, my mother, but actually I call that tejiendo mi destino, which that means waving my destiny. And so I put it 25 houses because this is so many times I have moved since I left Argentina. I will eventually get a house. The thing is sometimes, also talking about what is affordable, and when you are an artist, things that they are very affordable, still they are not. And so you have to make things that they are affordable for, for artists too. So I do first work